Hey, sweet Sam here. And just before we kick off this week's episode, I would like to address something that happened to me the other night online. Um, I was bombarded by some damaging insults by someone online after I told them I wasn't interested in them. And let me just read them out to you real quick. Um, so the first message was, "Fat people like you is disgusting, LOL. Lose weight and clean yourself. Oh, and don't forget aftershave spray. You will be better if you go on a diet. I can walk away for miles, but I can't, but you can't walk a few steps because you fat and between your legs will get burned." Stuff like this really is extremely diminishing and disgraceful to have to read out. It's quite upsetting. Um, these comments, I'm sure, are what many people are being met with, and not just me. And let me just say to anyone who considers themselves to be plus size, or like if you just feel awful about your body, especially with the pandemic, and like we just eat and eat and eat because there's nothing better to do in this pandemic. I just want to say, you, yes, your body is perfect. The only person who should be happy about your body is your damn self. And the only disgusting thing about this person that messaged me are his manners and morals. And I'd much rather be who I am as a person than, quite frankly, be a dickhead. Like the short and narrow of it. But my message is really, don't let shitty people like that guy stand in the way of your greatness and the potential you have in this world. And yeah, with that being said, I just felt the need to highlight this, as I personally have days where I feel gross and undesirable and just like the least sexiest thing out there. But when it's being held at you by someone, when you already think that in your head, makes that feeling grow and grow, and it just consumes you. But yeah, my main message is like, don't feed into it. You're perfect. Only you need validation over your body. No one else has the right to comment on it. And yeah, with that being said, my mission here with this podcast is to not only give a voice to the voiceless, but to address things in our community that need to be addressed, and like conversations that need to be have. So I want you guys to feel that this podcast is a safe and secure place. And I hope I provide some sort of like input or safety or like validation even into your lives. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hello, sweets, and welcome to the Birmingham Queerporium. I am your host, Sam Merricks, and today I'm joined by the lovely Paul Alexander. Paul, how you doing?
I am very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Welcome to the show. Very privileged that you're here. I see you as quite a prominent figure around Birmingham.
That's very kind of you.
But so today's topic was chosen by you, and that is on body positivity. So, Paul, why did you choose this?
um, there's a personal reason, I guess. It's a interesting subject on a personal level, but also it's a good subject for the world of queer people and queerness and wider society. But I think it especially affects a lot of queer people, how they view their bodies, how they view other bodies, how their bodies can be very different to mainstream society standards, and how some people are just invisible. And I guess for me, there's that goal for many people of just being comfortable and accepting of your own body in some way, in some personal way. So yeah, it's an interesting discussion. I think it could be quite revealing and quite enjoyable at times to talk about. It should be enjoyable to talk about.
Yeah, definitely, especially when it comes to queer bodies as well. Like we're often met with like an array of like stereotypes from like, especially like even with like in like my personal dating life, like I've been like turned away or like told to like get lost because I'm like not slim enough or like not twinkish enough, which is like ridiculous in of itself. So it's definitely something like everyone in our community can relate to.
Yeah, there's a great irony where the LGBT community is made up of spectrum of people, all these different letters, bonded by the need for tolerance and being included and being accepted, but also we are bringing our own baggage of standards, whether that could be misogyny, whether that could be our internalized homophobia, all these different things. But one of the big ones is body standards, where you look at posters for gay clubs and they can be more likely to be pretty twinks or muscle men. You're not going to see people with disabilities, you're not going to see older people, you're not going to see many people of different ethnicities. And like you said, if you're larger, you're automatically seen by some as not as worthy to get to know. And it's, so there's a lot of subtle and overt policing. And it's just not very nice, because actually that's 90%. Most people are different. Well, everyone's different to each other. And we all have different qualities. And there's no right or wrong way. You can have the most beautiful body, but you might have something you personally don't like, you're uncomfortable with. You might really love your body, but you might actually find others don't, but it doesn't bother you. It's a bit of a minefield in that way in our community.
Yeah, definitely. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head, like the whole the promotion of posters and stuff like that. They use the most commonly beautiful archetype of the twinks, or the really buff people, and there's also no kind of representation of different bodies in that sense, and not seeing that just makes I don't know if I speak for anyone else on their experience, but in terms of me, it just makes me feel like my body's not. It's kind of like a roller coaster ride when you don't meet the restrictions. That's how it feels. And you get told to turn away because you're not ideal enough.
Yeah, I mean it's that great irony. They're just selling the mainstream media's way of excuse me, of selling a product. They're saying beautifulness, and they're not just saying beautifulness gets in, or muscles get in, or youth gets in. They're saying this is the type of youth, this is the type of beautifulness, and it just reinforces itself. And they may, if they break from the mold and do something a bit different, a business or company may say, oh, it might not appeal as much, but actually, if everyone's doing that, it eventually does appeal. In the same way, if you said, oh, we can't have, back in the day, they would have said, oh, we can't have a black actor taking that role because it might put people off. Well, now, although there are still a fair bit of racism, but now you'll see people of color and black people in all walks of life when it comes to media and advertising and stuff. And it's just one of those things, once things start to change, they start to change. But up to that point, it's just people losing out. Everyday people just losing out, not seeing themselves represented. But I actually think it really inspires and empowers people when they see themselves or different types of people out there, makes them feel part of something included. And in the LGBT community, the whole point of it, although there may be businesses that are money oriented, the whole point of it should be a sense of inclusion and community. That's the moral obligation, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. It just made me thought, what is your kind of viewpoint on straight actors playing LGBT parts? For example, James Corden in that Prom film on Netflix.
I understand sort of one view that an actor should be able to do the role they're best suited for. If a character is talking, if the gay character in a film or show it's all about the gay experience and their life being gay and stuff, then the actor, I assume, being a good actor, would do all their research to understand this and, be as good as the script is, and the script needs to be good. But if the character is just a gay character by chance, then I think the best actor should be for the job. But that isn't to then say, it's a balance. You then need to accept as well that actually, many queer actors are marginalized anyway, trans actors, gay actors, lesbian actors, bisexual actors, and so forth, they are marginalised anyway. They less likely to get roles. You know, gay actors are less likely to get the roles as a leading straight guy, because if the public know they're gay, the big executives fear that that will put the public off. I mean, it's silly. I think a gay actor should be able to leave their sexuality at the door if they choose to, and take on the role that they're best suited for. And I think the films and shows and productions need to do their best to make sure they're examining who they are excluding and not excluding, especially if it's minorities. I think it's a balance. I don't think I've seen it where people have said only a gay person can play a gay actor can play a gay person. I think that feels short-sighted, because what if that gay actor doesn't want to be picked because they're gay? They want to be picked because they're the best person. I think there's so many nuances, but I think you definitely need to protect people who are marginalized, who are excluded because of who they are.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. Like, it is quite short-sighted to say, like, oh, this is a gay character, we need a gay actor purely for this character, otherwise, like, everyone be triggered. But it makes me think, like, Eddie Redmayne in that Danish Girl, like, that was like I think that's like the best example I can think of off the top of my head, of like a story being projected by like a straight actor, and like he did quite a bit of research from like my knowledge and stuff like that. But I was just gonna ask, because like today's topic is body positivity, how do you preach your body positivity and how do you maintain that?
I stand on a street corner and scream at people. I don't know. I think I've got my own personal story. I've always been thin and always been told you're thin, you're so thin, you're so thin, oh, you're so thin, you should eat more, oh, you should have more, all life. And eventually, when you hear something enough that is seemingly harmless, it digs in a little bit and creates a bit of an echo in your head and a shadow, and it's not that fun to enjoy, because often these little things build up. But I found, as a performer, as a drag artist, I found actually just going out, wearing whatever, and then going on stage wearing whatever, which may be very little, it may be very a lot, but either way, because it's drag and performance, it's visual. People are looking at you. It's not like that they're just looking at your mind or something. They are looking at your body. They're looking at that. It's purely visual in that first immediacy. And that's built it up. When I've gone out in a body stocking and a jock strap and a pair of heels and just smeared paint on myself, actually, you feel okay. It's just its own reward. But also, people tend to be okay. I think if you're in an okay situation, like a okay gay club or somewhere, people tend to be okay. And actually, you tend to get people being quite nice, positive, or saying, or go, oh, I wish I could do that or something. It's very easy for us to listen to, the person that gives you a weird look or something. Those things hurt. We remember that. We don't tend to remember the 100 people that walk past us in a day and don't look at us negatively, but remember the one person. And it's a mindset that we have. And I think especially as queer people, our mindset is there to look out for the danger, the fears, the worries, as self-protection, and because we're a bit used to it.
Yeah, certainly. Like, when you described like you being like your heels and like your jockstrap and like smearing paint all over yourself, I just imagine that being like so like liberating and freeing. Like, even as like an audience member, if I did watch it, but I'd say that's like really like liberating and be like, wow, I could try and do that. And like it, regardless of like my body, like stuff like that, like what you do as like a performer and like an artist, like resonates with like the person watching, and like even sharing your experience just made me think like I could even try and do that. And like that's like the positivity of like what you do as a performer, and like especially with like body positivity and that resonating with people.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think the first time I saw a place that I felt really like, wow, was Cha Cha Boudoir in Manchester. It was a night that the Family Gorgeous run. I can't remember, it started 6 years ago, maybe. It was a queer night, and it was where I first saw the drag, where I thought, wow, It had anaphylactic, cheddar gorgeous, licorice, lace, and all these different people. And one of the great things is everyone there dressed up in how they wanted to. It didn't have to be drag, they just wore what they wanted to. But also the people that were helping in performances or that were taking to the stages, they were all sorts of shapes and bodies. And there were big bear type bodies out there with their hair and beards, just wearing a jockstrap. And I was like, that's wonderful. That's so good. And you get that feeling, like you just said, like, I could do that. It's like, you do it. You find the situation to do it. And you do it. And I think you've then done it. And then you can find another situation to do it. And there may be lots of thinking of, I don't know how to do it. But until you actually just do it, you're not going to clinch the deal with yourself that you can express yourself. We live once, you've got one body, you can do what you want with it. And most people actually don't care about your body as much as you do. Most people are self-invested and self-interested, and you can psychologically feed off their selfishness by just doing what you want in the right situation. And often out of context, it's a lot harder. If I said to you, now you sat there, think about going somewhere wearing next to nothing or wearing what you want to wear, it's hard because it's like you're thinking of all the practicalities. But if you know you're in an environment where it's okay, once you're in that environment, the atmosphere of it makes it much more easier for you psychologically to process it.
Yeah, certainly. Like back before I was even at uni, I had no clue of anything to Birmingham's nightlife and the drag scene around here, Birmingham. But it was only till my friend obviously he took me out to the gay village here in Birmingham, and I pretty much had a similar experience you did in Manchester, where I was like, this is so cool, and all different types of bodies, just seeing I highly recommend the Birmingham drag scene. I think it's just the dog's bollocks, pure and simple. But seeing loads of different expressions and loads of people you, Effy Raine, and people like that, just expressing themselves this, and you don't even think of the actual physical body, just more the expression and the art form.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about drag is that it's often said it's like an armor. You can go out in an armor because obviously it's literally got a mask of clothing and makeup between your physical and mental self and the outside world. And the key to the next stage of that is then to reconcile yourself with what you are doing in drag, so that the confidence you get from going out in drag, you absorb into yourself, so that you can then go out as more yourself and feel as confident. And that's a real good part of the journey. It's something I've enjoyed, when I've done still life drawing, and I've done it maybe in a drag face, but wearing nothing else underneath. I've done life drawing stuff, or when I performed at Torture Garden just over a year ago, I ended up just being naked on stage, apart from drag face, and glitter smeared around me. And it was there was about 800 people in the big hall bit of that stage, just dancing, whatever, watching. But the fact is, it was Torture Garden, and it was an environment where it's very consentingly, overtly sexual and whatnot, and it's okay. And it's just I just thought, wow, I may not have been able to do that several years ago, and it's only a mark of achievement for me personally. That's where the matter is, and I think that's the key. It just comes down to the individual to find their own peace, and the only way to navigate the roads of body positivity and being comfortable, because there's so many challenges, and it's different for everyone. Some people want to be comfortable in their body in a very different way to others. I want to just express it differently. I think that's it. Just helps though, seeing others do it and being in environments where others are allowing you to be okay with being you.
That's definitely the case that I get, especially around our Birmingham gay village as well. It's even when the clubs aren't open, especially during COVID, just being in that area just makes you feel so much safer, and I have like literally the armor that I have like comes down a bit because I know I'm in like an area that like particularly like makes me feel safer as a person.
Yeah, I think it matters a lot. We all need these spaces, these areas, and to be honest, in wider society, people need them as well because regardless of your race, your gender, your disabilities or abilities, sexuality, age, those things are all things that are judged in terms of body confidence and body positivity. And it could be small things. It could be smaller details like body hair or cellulite or wearing, like we both wear glasses. I normally have lenses on. It could be all sorts of things. And being able to, on one hand, be comfortable with them and express them and just say, nah, this is me. But on the other hand, possibly it may, being able to reduce it so it's a bit more neutral. It's not like the key to who you are. So that you can go out there and end up being in a position where you can just say, oh, I'm wearing this because I like it. And you're not having to say, I'm wearing this because I want to, I like it, but oh my God, I'll look whatever it is. Where you can just wear it. That's the goal, where you can just be comfortable, happy, you feel mentally healthy.
No, like it just made me think like, especially in like my journey, my experiences, like it's often like me trying to like somewhat seek approval for what I'm doing, but it only starts within yourself that you need the approval for yourself, and like others will follow it and like back you up and like lead you to it.
Yeah, like if you get the ball rolling yourself and then when you do get the validation from others, you absorb that and hang on to that and you remember that, you let that sink in. And then when, there's other negative stuff, you let that wash away. That's training your brain to do that. But it matters. So, if you are getting intimate with someone, you're getting ready with someone, you're going to have sex with them, you're undressing, and they find you sexy and they're turned on by you and stuff. You remember that. You take that to heart because that's that's a good validation. When you go out in a club and someone loves what you're wearing or what you're doing or they're chatting, you take that to heart. That's validation. That matters. And I think that really matters because you get the ball rolling on that. You decide you're going to do this, you accept it, and then you find a year or two down the line, you're in a different place mentally. Maybe nothing's changed physically, but psychologically, you're in a different place. Your perspective is shifted because you've accepted what other people have told you in their compliments and their niceness. So that's the kind of external validation there is. But you've got the ball rolling. You start it yourself. That's the mission because no one can force you to change your ways. They can bully you to change your ways negatively, but no one can force you to change your ways into positivity because we're often quite damaged souls, and it takes a bit of healing and repair work to fix that damage.
Yes, I think you hit the nail on the head again. Like I completely agree. Like it just made me think like in terms of like body positivity, like even like right now, like then again, I am in pajama bottoms into this. Like I don't feel like sexy at the minute. That might just because of what I'm wearing. But
Well, that might be because we're recording a podcast and you don't need to be.
I mean if this was audio only, I
I
could just make up what I'm wearing right now. I could say it's a mankini. But no, like I don't particularly feel like sexy at the minute, but I can't really tell you the last time I felt sexy to be quite honest. But part of that might be due to COVID or
I think it breaks my heart when I hear things like that because we
I'm
are
sorry.
we are in a society where sex is very much shunned as a thing people do, but they shouldn't take pride in or enjoy. And I think that feeds into many different vibes, from slut shaming, from shaming people who are overtly sexual, or shaming people who aren't sexual at all but have a positive attitude to it, or just casual misogyny. It's a patriarchal society doesn't want women or feminine or sapphic people to have any positivity or control over their bodies because that's empowering them in a way that uses a patriarchy, its control. And so all that backdrop, for someone to say, you know what, I feel hot today, I feel sexy today, we're not meant to. We're not meant to be able to say that to ourselves. I mean, actually, there's no shame in doing it because the only consenting factor in it is you for you. and being able to consent to yourself to feel a certain way that harms no one else should be kind of fundamentally encouraged and nice. But if we do that, we can't be sold images of aspirational products to buy. We can't, can't succumb to advertising as much. We can't, the powers that be can't do as much to control us if we, love ourselves a little bit. But I think it matters because everyone should be able to feel quite nice. Body positive isn't just about saying, oh, I'm a little bit bigger, I'm a little bit thinner, oh, I'm this, I should be okay. It should be able to go quite deep and say, no, I am more than okay. I am happy. I am glad. I am sexy. I am whatever. I am this, that, or the other. And stick two fingers up to society.
I mean, I'm going to try and unbreak your heart after I broke your heart earlier. But
say something. Go on, unbreak it.
Come on, Tony Braxton. But no, there are days that I feel like I look in like that mirror behind me and I'm like, you know what? I turned it out today. But like it just makes me think like there are some days where I feel like quite like sex positive and I'm like, say like I just got out of the shower or something, I'm like, my butt looks great. Even if it's just like something tiny, even though the butt isn't tiny, but it's just like early fans coming soon. But but no, just like tiny, like I think I've preached this to like some people, like when it comes to like if you're feeling like down and out about yourself, it's just like just pick one thing like on your body anywhere to like focus on and like feed like positive energy into it. And then like it'll soon like space out and like just say it's like an eyebrow or something. Like even like just like one of your eyes and like it soon like grows all over, then like you feel like, oh okay, I actually do look pretty great.
Yeah, I mean that's a complete reversal or turning on itself. When you think of one little thing and it starts eating away in your brain or something, you think, oh, I've got a spot, or am I doing this, or I've got that, oh, my bum's not so big, or something like that. And that becomes your whole thought process, and that stops you wearing certain things. It affects everything about something. What you said there is turning it around, saying actually pick something you like, roll with it, and that affects your mind, and that's what your mind is filled with. And then if you're doing that more often, your mind is actually being trained to be in a good place. So like if you step out the shower and you see a bum, think, oh, I like that. Don't doubt that. Don't let the little saboteur inside feel that, enjoy that, and then just carry on with the day. So when you step out that shower every day, you say your butt looks good.
I mean, it applies to everyone. I'm sure everyone's viewers out there has a decent butt, but who knows? But no, like I don't know why it's like the conversation's gone to my butt, but
you raised it. You brought the subject up.
But all attention to my booty, please. But like the point I was gonna make was like, so I was thinking like more in like the like kind of like sex industry and like the porn industry, like maintain like that positive mindset when it comes to bodies as well. Like even if like I'm trying to think how to like phrase this, but then like in terms of me, like I don't, like typically like the porn sex industry gets like slated a lot for being like pure filth, but like if we didn't have that, we wouldn't like be able to be like so like liberating like in terms of like sexualness.
Yeah, I mean it's that stigma. It comes back to that stigma around sex that it's not a thing that people. It's that Victorian morality we still live in, where we're shameful about everything that should not be shameful. It's like sex. Fundamentally, if sex or sexual activity or kinks or fetish harm no one and are consenting, then so be it. That it should be defended, because most people at some point have had to defend themselves for that. So if you're gay, lesbian, bi, transgender, or even female or woman in any way, you've had to fight for rights that amount to the ability to do what the hell you want in a bedroom with someone else when it's consenting. Whether it's to have birth control, whether it's to have decriminalization of your whatever, or to steal back control of your sexual organs or something. It's like people fought for that, so it should be defended. And, you know, porn, I think there's been problems in the past where it's been upholding certain standards. So maybe, you know, it shows how to certain body types, or maybe it's saying big dicks are most important, or it must look a certain way, and women must always be more submissive and so forth. I think two counters to that is, one, children should be educated about sex and consent and everything at an appropriate age, so that when they do see porn, because they're going to find it, they need context. I think, to be honest, I think if you taught children about consent in all walks of life, like don't touch someone, don't poke someone, don't call someone a name they don't want, if you taught them consent fundamentally, that would help so many adults and humans when they grow up to become those people. But with social media and the internet, porn has become democratized in the sense that anyone can make it, anyone can upload it, and you can find what you like. If you like feet, you can find feet. If you like whatever fetish or kink, you can find it. And although that leads to it being out of context for people, so they may find things and not understand that it's just online, it's not the real world, and it can't apply what they see online to the real world so easily, it does mean that actually, like you said, it gives people the confidence to say, hey, look, there's loads of people out there with this type of body having sex and enjoying it, and it looks hot and sexy, therefore I can be a part of that as well. So I'm very I think, you know, sex work is work, it's legitimate work, it takes a lot of effort and work, and it's super healthy and whatnot for people to make the choices to do it as they want. And like you said, we see so much different types of porn and different people and different bodies that we should be able to take the inspiration from it. That, hey, there's someone for everyone, essentially. Because I truly believe you're not going to meet everyone in the world who doesn't like your body, or, you know, not you specifically, generally. You're going to meet, everyone's going to be in the same position where you meet most people who don't mind it at all. Because I think most people are actually real human beings who don't have perfect bodies at all. And they've all got something they're insecure of. And it's just how they address it and hold it.
Yeah, I don't want to cut you off at all, even though you did go off on.
I'll stop now.
No, I could see myself in the camera just like smiling, and I was just like, everything is just like perfection. Everything you just said, because like every time you said something, like in my head, I was thinking it, and then you said it. I was like, these got my points. It's just like I just thought like back like 100 years ago, like people would find like an ankle like scandalous, and like now we have like the cock destroyers and like more like dominatrix like type like women instead of like the submissive type, and like I just think it's like incredible to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an ugly part of some people who claim to be feminists, but they are anti-sex work because they say, "Oh, women shouldn't." But it's like, well, actually, these women, vast majority of sex workers, have consented to what they're doing. They've chosen their job, and to deny them that is to not deny their right to choose what they want to do with themselves, their lives, their bodies, their careers, and so forth. And it's a really dangerous mindset. And you know what? It's always hypocritical. Always hypocritical. It's like when you see these right-wing American pastors or politicians who then have a scandal because they've been involved in some sort of sexual thing, and they spend their public life shouting and raging against it. And you just think they've not done it because they actually believe that. They've done it for power, for control.
It's kind of like just like the seedy old like men that like shun like sex workers, but they've got about like 5 prostitutes in the hotel room.
But yeah, so it was you know, like Trump and Stormy Daniels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like, you know, it seems almost certain Trump by someone paid off Stormy Daniels, and it's just like, and then he preaches against sex workers and stuff like that, and they try to link it to child and sex trafficking and stuff like that, and therefore and make it even more dangerous sex workers to actually live, and they're going to live and carry functioning. And, you know, it's often hypocritical, and any discussions that need to be had are just erased. You know, there are discussions that need to be had about issues of trafficking and stuff like that. But when it's all muddled up and ruined by these people, then it's just a shame.
Slowly but surely the conversation's being opened, but like it's still a long journey, but we're still rising and fighting to like open it even more.
I mean, where do you think you'll be? So, I don't want to obviously open, make it all personal about how you feel with your relationship to your body. I don't know if you'll break down in tears or what, but like, how do you think?
I mean, for the clout, I will, but
but how do you feel your journey will be?
Oh,
like, no, I don't know your starting position, but we know that you said you haven't felt particularly empowered or sexy maybe during lockdown, which is, you know, I don't think is unjustified because it's been a lockdown. But you then said you felt your bum looks good at times, you know, so it's not your journey is going to be in a positive direction of how you relate.
I mean, like, I think I speak for everyone. It's like it's always gonna be like a mixed roller coaster. Like some days there's gonna be like peaks, and like the next day you'll like feel like low as hell, thinking like I'm nothing. But like even like going back to drag earlier, I've low-key tried to do drag over lockdown, and I felt unstoppable. Like I have about like 4 weeks in that wardrobe, and like now and again I just do like a look, and I just feel like this is the one. I feel nothing can break me.
Yeah.
But in terms of like body though, going back to the butt, it's always the butt. But I'm gonna get messages after this saying like, Sam, is your butt seriously that great? And I shall never reveal. But
why did putting stuff on, drag and stuff, do that?
it sounds so cliche, but it just felt like another person, and like it probably like brought out something that like I didn't even know like plain version me had.
But you know what? One of the things we can't really escape that is there all the time is ourselves. We really can't. You know, this is the body and the mind. We can't run away from it. We can leave a house. We can leave a bed. I can turn off a computer. I can shut down Netflix. I can burn a city down and run away.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do. I've not had visions of that in lockdown. But actually, when we get a chance to escape out ourselves, which is actually what a lot of entertainment does, like films and stuff, we're forgetting ourselves. But when we can do it physically through drag or performance or acting is another way. It can feel really good without necessarily having to justify why. So yeah, drag's interesting for that. It can really make people feel that. I think just go a step further, cling on to that energy, and just ride it out. Yeah.
I think it applies to like a multitude of like art forms, like the element of like escapism, like whether that be like painting, like on a canvas, or like fashion, or like making a garment, or like and drag as well. Like it's essentially like escape from ourselves, and like that's what makes it like special, especially like during lockdown. But it's just like escaping from like this like kind of like numbness in a way.
Yeah, the casual numbness, and I think a lot of it is because actually the human experience is pretty numb. We're born, we have various physical and mental ailments, and we've got to struggle to survive and keep a roof over our heads, and eventually, you know, inevitably there's a bit of death at the end. So it's kind of bringing that alive, and I think the meaning of life is a bit more about meaning, doing something, finding a bit of purpose in what you're doing whilst you're going on that journey. One of the things I've got to do during lockdown is become a host of an online burlesque show called Burlesque at Home, with a plug. But what's been really, really, really good about it is I'm just the host, but the people organising it, the burlesque artists they pick really good artists, but quite naturally, they are of all sorts of backgrounds and locations and styles. And what I really love is just like the message of body positivity, because it's so much empowerment in it. It's doing that thing where entertainment is escapism, but they're bridging the gap. They're saying, like you said, I feel the escape, as a performer, they feel the escape from their body, the numbness of that. But they're going the extra level by using their body as an escape. So they're bridging that gap even more. So they can say, this is my body, I may have a wonderful outfit on, but actually that outfit, because burlesque, a large part of it is the art of strip, is to take bits off and to remove bits so that here I am in the flesh. And it's all done in a way where it's erotic, it's empowering, it's stunning, it's artistic, it's skilled, it's elegant, or it's maybe a bit scary, a bit dangerous. Maybe there's fire involved, maybe there's little tricks and things involved. And that's really cool. And I really love that, because all the performers I've seen have been of different body sizes, different shapes, they've had different settings, they've had different assets they've shown off that they've loved, and they've just done it in their own way.
No, I think that's a wonderful point to end on, really. Like, especially with like the art of like burlesque. Like, I think I remember learning about, like, in one of my uni years. You may know, but like it was this one burlesque act. I think like she has like an eating disorder and she does performances with like a golden like toilet bowl or something. I remember reading about it. I found it so fascinating that she used like her eating disorders, like her expression is like as like she's doing burlesque. Like I need to like look upon it because I can't remember exactly the story, but I just found it like so interesting and liberating.
Yeah, I think liberating is a thing. That's the thing we've come back around to, that it's liberating to liberate yourself, like you said, from the numbness, and that actually just accepting you're okay. It's okay to be on a journey, because there's no end. So you might as well just accept it and enjoy it, which is easy to say but hard to do. Very hard to do.
It's definitely easier said than done.
But you know, if you I just say, especially with social media, just go in a world where actually you're rewarded for being your unconditional self, when it's not harming anyone or harming you, and it's just being good, and you're being good to yourself. Put yourself in situations where you're rewarded with that. Like you said, you go to a club and people are nice, go back to that club. You go to a club where you can wear what you want. It's a bit scary at first, but you realize it's okay, and you feel empowered, go back, do it again. And that's nice, because that's what body positivity is, feeling okay in whatever the hell you look like at that present time. I think it's rewarding, and it's healthy, and it's nice, and it benefits those around you. Myriad of ways it can inspire them, or it can simply make them drawn to you, give you experiences. Who knows?
Exactly. Like with many things in life, it starts with you, and like only you can like do that. Then like the rest will be like almost a breeze, but like allowing yourself to do that is like the hardest step, but it's like worth the reward.
Yeah. Reflecting instead of reacting to other people, reflecting on things, being self-aware, just working your own way out, and thinking, learning. It all adds up, and it's all healthy. And as a whole, it just affects society in a positive way.
Definitely. I think that's a lovely point for us to end the episode with, to be fair. So thank you so much for joining me, Paul. Do you have anything that you'd like to plug?
Oh, well, anyone can look me up on their Instagram or social media. I've got an awkward spelt surname, but if you look me up. And I just love what I'm doing. I craft weird little creepy creatures that I sell. I host Burlesque at Home show. I do take part in performances and all sorts, but social media, I tend to put whatever I'm doing. So if people want to have a look, have a look. And they can see me in drag, because this is, I'd like to say this is a horrific mask. This what I'm wearing today is a horrific form and type of drag, but this is myself. This is me.
So it's art.
Yeah. They can see something more interesting if they look me up online.
But no, I'll definitely put all your social media stuff and everything like just selling in the link below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you take care.